Good morning. I am a Boston Red Sox fan, which may tell you everything that you need to know about me. Being a Red Sox fan means lots of things. It means being long-suffering and patient. It means knowing full well it can always get worse, even as you hold out hope that it might not. It means believing in miracles, even though they appear only a few times over 100 years. My husband says being a Red Sox fan is the definition of faith. I think it explains why I selected a passage today with references to wilderness and wasteland, even when my team is currently looking pretty good in the postseason, which of course I've now probably jinxed. As with all baseball fans, Red Sox or otherwise, I live with the promise of what is to come. The new season, the new pitcher, the new inning, the new things that give meaning and hope no matter what. There's always next year, we say. Sometimes we Red Sox fans have been known to say there's only next year. Now, as this academic year has gotten underway and the baseball season has moved into its final stages, and our chapel time together has focused on this concept of all things new, I've been thinking about the power of things being made new, about the hope and the strength that seem intertwined with newness. This year's chapel theme suits me well. Though I am a historian and I've spent a lot of time thinking about what is past, the truth is that in many ways I've always been drawn to the new. The top of the first inning, the blank page in the notebook, the first day of the semester, the experience of seeing a place for the first time. This past weekend, I had that experience when I went to Salt Lake City. And when I heard that Brigham Young, when he first saw the place that became Salt Lake City, said, "This is it," I knew exactly what he meant. I'm also drawn to the newness found in the minutes just before daybreak every morning, my favorite time of day. In all of these things, the joy of what has not been touched or seen sits right beside all the possibility of what is to be. I love the way the scripture talks about a new thing springing up, suggesting energy and force, something noticeable, a turning point. Newness means not business as usual, we might say. Now, I'm keenly aware that newness also has its limits, that time and experience are pillars that can't be quickly constructed or easily substituted. And who doesn't love the comfort of the old and the familiar? Yet there is a joy and an opportunity in newness that we don't want to miss. And as the scripture notes, a real upside to being part of a process of being made new. If we stop to think about it, most of us can recall a time when we experienced something new and we saw how powerful that could be. We understand that sense of springing forth that Isaiah speaks of, and that sense of this is it that Brigham Young referred to. Last summer, I was invited to participate in a conference at Pacific Lutheran University designed to help people working at Lutheran universities welcome those who are new to our campuses. Since I got the invitation to participate when I had been at TLU for less than a year myself, I figured some kind of mistake had been made, but I decided I would go anyway, and for good measure, on the experience side, take Dr. Sitzler with me. You can imagine my surprise when the organizers wrote me a few weeks before the conference and asked me to give a presentation on welcoming new people to TLU. At this point, I felt that I had to come clean, and so I called them and I said to them, really, most of my experience at welcoming new people here was in being myself a new person just a few months earlier. All the better, the conference convener told me. You are in a great position to understand and share the possibilities of newness. Now, my biggest takeaway from that conference is that I am part of something here that values newness, even as it draws on a long and intentional heritage of education. I was reminded at that conference that the Lutheran academic tenets of questioning, of free inquiry, of valuing the liberal arts, and of discerning one's calling include a fundamental concept of openness, of welcoming, of appreciating those who are new. In some religions and in some communities, being new means being targeted to conform to the larger ethos. I'm glad that's not what that means in the Lutheran tradition or here at TLU. I'm glad that newness is connected to a process of all of us being made new, continually and endlessly, both individually and collectively. Several years ago, I found myself explaining to our then 9-year-old son that we were going to leave the land of the Red Sox and move south to the Carolinas. Despite my having attempted to convey this at just the right time, in just the right way, with all of my maternal gifts, young Andy burst into tears when I shared this news, and he said, "Mom, I don't want to move because I don't want to be new." He went on to elaborate, as he does. Being new means giving up everything. It means we give up our friends, we give up our schools, we give up our house, we give up our team. Now, I'd like to tell you that I was ready with a great reply in that instant, but really, when he put it that way, I had this sinking feeling that maybe I needed to rethink this move we were about to take. But then I remembered he was 9, I was 49. I was going to have to be the adult in this conversation. And so I said with a little catch in my throat, "Andy, I don't think we really have to give up anything, or at least we don't have to think of it that way. I think we just get to add new things. We'll still have our friends, and we'll still have our memories of our house and our schools, and goodness knows we will still be Red Sox fans. But now we'll get to add new friends and new schools and a new house to our lives." I didn't try to convince him that we would add a new team, and really, we haven't done that. Now, I'd like to tell you that he smiled broadly, and he accepted my words, and he skipped happily away. But he didn't, and we all had to make our way through the process of being made new in that move. But with newness came new possibilities. We grew, we learned, we sprang up, and we became stronger. We got there, and eventually we got here, and we are grateful for that. As we move through this year in this community together, my hope for all of us is that the joy of newness will be with us each day, that each day will be open to the possibilities of being made new, and that we'll notice the energy and the hope that always comes at the top of the first inning. Go Sox.